I once knew a girl with eyes like moonbeams. They could just drift your way and suddenly you would feel as if you were the sole thing illuminated in a whole world of darkness. You always met her on the first day of the rest of your life, and she's the reason to make that distinction, because after her, everything would just kind of fall into place. It all makes sense. It worked. And that I know. Now, I once knew a boy with a smile like the sunrise. He could just flash it away, and suddenly you would feel all your frustrations fading into the night. I heard he liked to live right on the line between fantasy and the real world, so the first time you met him, you were never really quite sure if he was real or not. Even by the fifth time, you were astounded that he was. Or at least that's what I heard. I never met him. I once knew a girl who could read your lips before you even moved them, who could ask you why before you told her what, who could look you in the eyes, tell you she understood, and make you believe her. She'd influenced more decisions than flipped coins or Jack Daniels. She'd predicted more outcomes than Chinese cookies or blind prophets. She'd shaped more worlds than gods or meteoroids. She'd broken more hearts than a trash compactor on the 15th of February. And that I know. Now, I once heard of a boy who could smell your soul, who could taste your ideas and then would write down the recipe, who could see your thoughts, but would always act as if he didn't know. I heard he'd started more smiles than cute babies or birthday parties, that he'd created more laughs than cartoons or banana peels, that he'd solved more problems than Sherlock Holmes or a calculator, that he'd made more friends than a punch clock that's a few minutes behind. Or at least that's what I heard. I never met him. I once knew a girl who wanted a boy. A boy with a clean smile and a pure laugh who would celebrate the future, honor the past, and make the present everything it ought to be. A boy who would set his love to infinity and never let her forget it. No, she'd had her options, but none of them had quite worked out for one reason or another. And so, I once knew a girl who wanted a boy with a smile like the sunrise. And that I know. Now I once knew a boy who wanted a girl. A girl with a knowing look and a caring voice who would make him anticipate the future, forget the past, and make the present everything it ought to be. A girl who would turn her love invincible and never let him forget it. Now, he had his interests, but none of them had quite worked out for one reason or another. And so, I once heard of a boy who wanted a girl with eyes like moonbeams. Or at least that's what I heard. I never met him. Now, I once heard that if the girl I knew and the boy I heard of ever met, that they would prove once and for all that love at first sight exists, that they would start dancing and never stop, that they would melt into each other's mind streams, fall into each other's souls, and provide the perfect ending to each other's life story. Or at least that's what I heard. They never met. That's just how it works sometimes. And that I know. Thank you.